Now we'll talk a little bit about these table names here. Now the table that we've been dealing with is called person.person, and you can actually see it over here in the table list in Object Explorer. Now you may be wondering, why has the table got two names? Well, I won't spend too much time on this, but basically in SQL Server, and this is generally true of most database systems, certainly Oracle as well, is that a table name actually comprises two things. It's the table name itself, which in this case, and I'm just highlighting it there, the table name person, and the first bit there is the schema. Now the schema is sort of a grouping system for tables. I won't go into too much detail about that, but suffice to say that in these types of systems, when we're talking table, we really need to specify the schema name and the dot and the table name as well. Now there is a bit of a shorthand that I can show you to simplify this rather than have to type out that full blooming great long name, for example. And some of these can be quite lengthy, for example. I mean, if we go down here, there's one here called person.phone number type. That's a bit lengthy. So there's a bit of a shorthand I can show you that we don't have to type the whole thing out. Now, I will show you, there is an exception to that with the schema thing. This exists for SQL Server. I don't believe it exists for Oracle, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to go to a slightly simpler SQL Server database. It's called Northwind. It's another but much simpler sort of sample database. I'm just going to show you, these are the table names here. And notice that the schema name, the first part of the table name, is not something meaningful. It's this funny thing called DBO. DBO dot employee territories, DBO dot orders. And in these sorts of situations, the DBO in SQL Server, that represents what's called the default schema, which in plain English means it's sort of like a catch-all one, and the practical implication is you don't have to specify the schema name. If I was interrogating that database, it'd be perfectly legal for me to type select star from orders. Oops, just made a typo there. Select star from orders. I would not have to specify the schema name .dbo. I could if I wanted to, so that would be legitimate, but because it's DBO and it's the default one, we can leave the default schema name off of the front, and that's perfectly legitimate. So depending on the type of system you're working with, whether it's SQL Server or Oracle or MySQL or whatever, you may, I'll just clear that out and return back to AdventureWorks here. You may see these prefixes to the table names. They represent schemas, and we do have to use them in our queries.